I would like to thank all our presenters for these papers. We are now going to move on to the workshop. So we're going to have a workshop on insights into methods, tools, and practices to enable remote collaboration and partnership. This is held by UTS, and I'm going to just introduce the workshop hosts. We've got Keren Winterford. Keren has more than 20 years work experience in the international development sector in multiple capacities with managing contractors, NGOs as a private consultant, and more recently in development research. Keren's areas of expertise include research design in partnership, particularly with NGOs, participatory research, facilitation and training, design, monitoring and evaluation, and strengths-based approaches to development. She has sectoral experience and expertise related to gender and social inclusion, citizen participation, governance, and social accountability. We've got Juliet Willetts. Professor Juliet Willetts leads UTS Institute for Sustainable Futures International Development Team that undertakes applied research to inform policy and practice in Asia and Pacific. Her particular expertise is in the area of water and sanitation. Juliet was involved in establishment of RDI Network and was the academic co-chair of the network from 2014 to 2020. She leads transdisciplinary research in partnership with in-country governments, NGOs, and international agencies, and has authored and co-authored more than 100 peer-reviewed articles. Tamara Megaw has 10 years experience working in international development practice, education, research, and evaluation. She has worked on social development bilateral aid projects of the South Asian Pacific region and has worked as a research consultant at the Institute for Sustainable Futures at UTS since October 2017. Tamara's research interests include effectiveness of international development programming, gender and sexual diversity, social inclusion, community economies, climate change adaptation, and environmental justice. So COVID-19 has changed the world and our work, and working in international development under travel restriction has changed our practice. This workshop will provide an opportunity for international development practitioners to exchange best practice, enablers, and address key challenges in effective engagement, research, and learning processes when remote. So over to you, team. Thank you.
Great, thanks so much. Everyone, before we start, I just encourage you maybe to sort of like get up from your chair or your lounge or wherever you're sitting, have a bit of a stretch, roll your shoulders. We've been sitting since 1:30 and probably for most of the day in front of a Zoom screen, so just relax. Yeah, that's it, Tamara. Do a few yawns. Yawns and up to the sky, everyone, and down. Great, thanks so much. That's good. Hopefully you're a bit more energized from that. Well, thanks so much. We're really looking forward to this 1 hour together, and we hope, sorry, that's the wrong screen to share, this one here. Great, we hope to give you a lot of interaction. So as the presentation suggested, we hope that this workshop will be of value to a broad audience who are interested in remote collaboration and partnerships and practice to enable this. So our experience is from the University of Technology, Sydney, and from that international development research perspective. So we'll provide our own reflections and insights, but we think based on our experience of working with NGOs, managing contractors in Asia and the Pacific, we think that our reflections and insights will be of interest to the broader sector. And so we're really excited to share with you some of our experience. So we've been, as part of our work, we've been consolidating our existing practices as well as upskilling in specific tools and methods for remote collaboration. We're going to provide to you some of the things that we've been using, some of the methods, tools and practices, and we're really inviting you to share your experiences as well. So just to acknowledge the land on which I sit today, which is the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation here in Sydney. So I pay my respect to past elders and present and future. So our workshop agenda, we're just going to have some brief introductions and welcomes. We'll provide some of our insights, and then we'll invite you to share some of your insights as well in terms of some of the practices you've been doing remote for collaboration and partnership. We'll be presenting some ideas around principles to inform this remote collaboration and partnership, and then we'll thanks and close. So I'm going to ask that the Doodle Poll get put up. So we've got a bit of a Doodle Poll for you. So I'll stop sharing. So if the Doodle Poll could be added to the, there we go, everyone. So this is just some fun questions just to encourage you to, share a little bit about yourself, and we can see who's on the call today. Some fun, silly questions. Great, so we've got a lot of people wanting to read minds or be able to fly, which is great. It's an amazing superpower. A lot of people feeling sunny and cloudy today, which is really good. Not too many people feeling rainy, which is great. It's a lot of positive energy in the room with all that beautiful vitamin D. And knowledge building is a key area that we want to learn from today, knowledge building and also networking opportunities. So hopefully we'll meet those expectations for you. That's great to see. Okay, I'm going to... So that can go off. Great. So firstly, what we're going to do is just share some of our insights for you and our reflections on working remote and supporting collaboration and partnership. So Tamara, over to you. Thanks.
Thanks, Keren. So I wanted to share with you about a virtual learning event that I was part of in June this year, which shares knowledge between different partners and country contexts on the climate change response for inclusive WASH research project that's funded by Water for Women. So this event was to generate discussion between different types of stakeholders. There was local and national governments, WASH and CCA practitioners and researchers. Participants joined from Australia, Timor-Leste and Indonesia, and we used the English and Indonesian languages. The virtual platform we used was Zoom meeting like this, with synchronous translation to help with smooth communication. So participants with hearing impairments were supported to join with an Indonesian Sign Language interpreter. Plan International, Indonesia and WaterAid Timor-Leste co-designed the event with ISS. So we started that several months before, and we helped to select speakers to present their learnings from different levels of the organization and regions, and both men and women. And comprehension of the material was supported by presentations, being accompanied by PowerPoint slides, and research outputs available in both languages of the learning event. One session had participants in smaller breakout rooms to encourage discussion, and notes were taken on Google Slides and then reported back to the larger groups. This was done effectively through distributed management between partners that helped to respond to a few challenges. So there was a high level of flexibility needed to changing circumstances of partners in the context affected by COVID-19. And during the event, some participants didn't have their own computer or internet connections. So where it was safe to do so with the health situation, they joined a physical room with others, perhaps wearing masks or socially distancing, and then took it in turns to speak with the microphone. So some participants were dropping out as well due to internet connectivity, so we had to be adaptable and keep going and have lots of backup plans, which you may be familiar with as well in your own practices. So overall, the learning event worked well to get a range of diverse people connecting with each other and learning what similar work others are doing in other geographical places. Next slide, thanks.
Great, thanks so much, Tamara. So I'm just going to share a brief example that we've had in one of our projects. So it's a research partnership in Sri Lanka with ourselves, ISF, and 3 local partners. And the original plan many years ago was an in-country multi-stakeholder workshop. We were sort of envisaging, 100 plus people in a room, lots of small group discussions. So we had to pivot. That's the word of last year, was to pivot. So we went online. And we just decided to focus on Sri Lankan audiences only. And we consulted with our Sri Lankan partners what was going to maximise participation. So we had to let go of quite a lot of things, and we curtailed our expectations of what was possible to best meet and fit with the audiences. So we had an open Zoom link. So we initially wanted to get registrations, but our Sri Lankan partners told us that it was easier for individuals just to click on, at the last minute, like who has time to register for a Zoom event and then get the Zoom link a few days later. And then when the workshop happens, you can't even remember where you saved that Zoom link. So we just decided to have one Zoom link that people could easily access. We planned within a 1.5 hour window. So, we had so much to share. This was an emerging findings workshop. So we really wanted to engage with stakeholders to influence policy and practice, but we were told that partners would be too busy. Everyone's just zoomed out. So we managed within the time available. And we specifically didn't overcomplicate the agenda or process. So we, shared our findings. We had questions in chats. We had breakout rooms. We had local language facilitators in the breakout rooms with a few questions. We just really kept it as simple as possible and curtailed our expectations, and it worked relatively well. Thanks.
Great. So our last example is from an international partnership that started right at the beginning of COVID. So just in kind of March, April last year, we took on leadership of an 8-month joint collaborative project across 10 countries, which sounds probably a crazy thing to do at that point in time, but we were game. And the message here that we'd like to emphasize is about trial and error. With that group of people, we'd never met before, any of us, across the different countries, and we were immediately thrown into different Zoom interactions and had to sink or swim. So after some initial attempts where it was very hard to get participation, you ask it to open a question and there's a big silence on Zoom and it's very awkward for everyone. We very quickly realised we needed lots of other tools to facilitate. And as you've heard Tamara and Keren mention, we've become quite reliant on Google Slides, and you'll have an experience of that today, but trying to use it in really creative ways. So using tables, using voting, using stickies, you can really do as much as your imagination can give on Google Slides, and also varying that with other mediums like Mentimeter and polls. One of the other things we learnt was that it was really important to help give different participants preparation time. And so sending out, for instance, PowerPoint templates to people beforehand and asking them to present and giving them time to think things through before they were set in front of 20 people that they didn't know so well, that really, really helped. And we started to get much, much stronger participation from the field, and to hear their genuine stories, hear their genuine challenges, and have genuine exchange with one another. So that idea of giving people advance warning of how we'd like them to participate using the different technologies was a really important lesson. And the last one, you can't tell from all these different screens, but on the bottom right of this slide is one of our last meetings, and one of the younger members decided to really make the last meeting a feeling of celebration, and she put on various YouTube music hits to celebrate, I guess, the outputs that were made by each team, and it really led to a different feeling of a group culture, of a collection of people, of connection between us. And so I guess the message really is about, the technology's there. It's all about how we decide to use it, and we can really find ways to use it to help connect us to one another, even though we're very distant. And so those are our 3 brief examples, and we'll move on to some sharing in breakout rooms. And so this is an opportunity for you to talk to a few people who are in this session about your experiences of remote collaboration and partnership. And if you look in the chat, you'll find a link to a Google Docs, and there are 2 questions. So when you get into your room, firstly, make sure you introduce yourself. It's a really important step on Zoom with people you don't know. Introduce yourselves, but don't tell your entire life story because it'll just be 10-15 minutes. And the questions we'd like to think about are, what are the most important things that you've done that have supported you in remote collaboration and partnership? And the second one, what have been benefits of challenges of the ways you've done things to support collaboration and partnership? And so if you can grab the link in Zoom, and as we said, if it doesn't work, this is part of the experimentation on Zoom and the fractures that Yofita talked about. It doesn't always work as you plan. So enjoy your breakout chats. If you could send us all to the breakout rooms, please.
Can I just add one more thing?
Oh, go for it.
So the slides are repeated. So you'll see slides.
Yeah, there's several with question 1, several with question 2.
3, 4, and 5 are the same, and 6, 7, and 8 are the second questions. So in your breakout room, if you can just sort of confirm which slide you're going to go to. So you could work on slide 1 together, or you could work on slide 2. So as a breakout room, find a space in each of those slides. Thanks. Great. Well, welcome back, everyone. I think we've got everyone back in the room. Yeah, great conversations I had in my breakout room. Hopefully you had in yours. We haven't had a chance to have a look at the all the great contributions in the Google Slides, but you can go back afterwards and you can have a look, and you can also add some more. We're going to move on now to sharing some principles that we've come up with to guide best practice for use of methods and tools to work for remote collaboration and partnerships. So as I said, these are come from our perspective on international development, but we're sharing them with you today and for you to reflect on them, but also to add your own. So we've got 5 here. 5 is a good number because it's your hand. So you can imagine thinking about this in your hand. So I'll just go through these, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go into other breakout rooms, and you're going to have some opportunities to react and reflect, and also to potentially add your own. So firstly is the use of technology to build and maintain personal connections. So more than ever, we think that we need to prioritise personal relations as a foundation for collaboration and partnership. So we need to do that through regular practice of a range of technologies such as WhatsApp, Viber, Skype, lots of different ways. And one of the things that we've really valued is through this building and maintaining personal connections is empathy and solidarity. So everyone at the moment is going through how to describe COVID. It's disruptive for us all, and different countries are have different experiences, but together we can have empathy and solidarity for each other as we continue to support each other in our personal lives, but also in our professional lives. We need to plan for eventualities and build in flexibility. So we think that you need to expect change to happen. It's not like change is kind of you know, as an uncertain reality. Change is a certain reality, and you need to expect to change. So to include in your plan options to trial different ways of working, like as Juliet said before, just to be really open for that flexibility, and to include scenario planning for all for different ways of working. So it's plan A, plan B, plan C, and to recognise that there will be internet challenges, there's going to be ways, there's going to be local contexts that change at the last minute, and we just have to be ready for this change. Be equipped with a wide range of toolboxes to enable inclusive online participation and engagement. So as the three of us presented, we've used a range of different platforms, such as Google Docs that we're sharing today, Google Jamboards, Miros, Mentimeters, Zoom polls, etc. And just to have like a toolbox that you can think, okay, what's going to be appropriate for this context, and to think about what's fit for purpose. And one of the things for us is just really keeping the technology simple, and simple doesn't necessarily mean simple, because you might have like so much in your toolbox and you don't want to be like, you don't have to be showy offy about all the things that you know what to use. You actually need to be smart to kind of, you know, use the right tool or platform for that particular context. So you don't need to kind of be you know, use everything that you know in your toolbox. You can just use what's appropriate at that time. Prioritise platforms, tools and processes that enable inclusion, particularly for vulnerable and marginalised people. So that's really important for us, is to think about these platforms in relation to inclusion and exclusion. We know that there are aspects of exclusion because of internet connectivity. Use inclusive remote engagement process for research and co-design and handing over leadership. So from our perspective, from a research space, we work in partnership with NGOs, with governments, with other research organisations. And we feel it's really important that we feel like these online platforms actually enable us to think about co-design, to think about local leadership of research processes. We think that it enables us to value complementarity and diverse experience and expertise. And that what we want to do, because we are what's, you know, inverted commas, remote, there's local leadership in country that they're not remote, you know, the local partners, NGOs, local researchers, they're the leaders of the research outcomes and outputs and the ways that research can influence change and policy in countries. So we feel that there's an opportunity for us as remote to prioritise that local leadership to take up the research outputs to influence change in those local contexts. And lastly is to support in-country partners to have expertise in online research tools. So one of the things that we tried to do, particularly with the project that Juliet mentioned, was upskilling those local research teams in different online tools and platforms. And so there was a way in which people became familiar with those tools, like Google Slides, for example, and Zooms and Breakout Rooms, and then they used those methods and tools and platforms in their own engagement in country. So it's really important for us not to kind of hold the knowledge of this online potential and the creative ways of using these different platforms, but building capacity in country and considering the remote research methods that are relevant for the staff in country. And another thing that we really think is important in terms of that supporting in-country partners is the two-way learning. So, you know, we need to learn from the user's perspective as well as to whether these online platforms are beneficial to them as well, and what is the ways of engaging, and how can we learn together about how to improve our practice going forward. So they are the principles that we have identified. Tamara, over to you.
Yeah, so we've got just a quick Menti poll to help reflect on these principles. So in the chat box, I've put a link, which might be easy for you to click, or if you're on your phone, we're quite familiar with QR codes now, so you can point that at the PowerPoint slide here and enter Menti. And I'll also give you one more option in the chat box to type in menti.com and then the voting code. So the questions are, to what extent have you been applying these principles since COVID-19? That's the first question, which will be multiple choice. And then, would you like to learn more about these principles, and multiple choice answers as well? So if I will take over sharing screen from you in a moment, Keren.
Oh, okay, great.
Can you see there my screen okay?
Not yet. We saw it and then it came up and then it
And then
went
it
away.
went. Maybe you're sharing a wrong screen.
I'll try once more. So to what extent have you been applying these principles since COVID-19? We have a large response around, I think it was quite often, or something in that range, not quite always. And then on the second question, would you like to learn more about these principles? Similar, so we've got around 4.4 out of 5. So most people would like to learn more about the principles.
Great.
Thanks for voting.
Thanks for voting, everyone, and hopefully, yeah, a nice demonstration of the Menti, which we use constantly at ISF. We don't go without a meeting without using Menti, and we use it a lot with our research partnerships. Now what we're going to do is we're going to encourage you to go back into the breakout room. So we'll probably go for probably about 8 minutes, I think, and then we'll come back for just 2 minutes at the end. So these are the breakout rooms. So you'll be going back to your Google slide, and you'll see that there's a range of different, where is it? Yeah, there's 2 sets of questions here. So there's slides 11, 12, 13 are the same, and slides 14, 15, 16 are the same. So you can, in your breakout room, find your own spot. So the first question, are there any other principles we need to add? So use a sticky note and just add what you think might be a principle. So it's a way of acting within the sector that we need to employ to support this remote collaboration and partnership. So number 1 question, any other principles we need to add? And then the second area on that is your reactions to the principles. So you agree, you don't agree, or you don't understand, or you don't agree. So you can see there's little dots there. So this is very participatory. There's little dots that you can move across, and you can just put those little sticky dots on the principles. So you can add them to the principles that are already there, or you can add them to new principles that get added in that first question. So just move a dot to demonstrate whether you agree, you don't understand, or you don't agree. And then the second part is, what do you think needs to change within your organisation or the sector more broadly to operationalise these principles? So in a sense, you know, we've been operating, we've pivoted. It's like our work is kind of our work, our expectations, the contracting, all of these things have stayed the same, but we're doing our work remote. So yeah, from within your organisation or the sector more broadly, do you think there's anything that's required for us to change, to transform our ways of working within international development in the Asia Pacific region to operationalise these principles? So we've got, we'll put you into breakout rooms for 7 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll have a brief close. So enjoy your breakout rooms. Thanks. Wow, welcome back everyone. This has been a whirlwind. Been sort of teleported in and out of meetings, but I think that was really valuable. I might just reflect, because we do have a couple of minutes to end. I might just put up the, I might just share my screen and put up the slides. So in terms of the five principles, on the whole, there was a lot of thumbs up, one question mark there, a thumbs down there about being equipped with a here we've got a lot of thumbs up. Really wonderful is to see all of the additional other principles that have been noted from people around steep learning curves for facilitation and users in online tools. So recognising that important learning focus for our practice, activity, and being more conscious of that, which is really important. There was one here which is around respecting different cultural approaches to technology, which is very important. And this one here as well, we had that other one around localizing the tools that are being used and localizing the technology, and also accessing tools in local language. Facebook for communication, another one's important. Using local partners and researchers as opposed to, you know, relying on this translation and technology. And that's something that, yeah, we think is really important as well. So having more work done in local context rather than the sort of Australian-based work. The technology might not be available. So yeah, just sort of recognising that we need to be responsive to different types of technology. And this one here, which is yeah, so different time zones and the challenges of coordinating. So that's something that's come up quite a bit in the different breakout rooms that I've been in as well, is the reality of putting pressure on people. So yeah, we sort of are professional workers, and yeah, we should have work-life balance, but sometimes the expectation is that we should just be online because we're available. So we're going to leave these slides open, you know, for the next 24, 48 hours over the time of the conference. So we really encourage you to continue to reflect and to add in. I didn't mention on slide 10 of the Google Slides, there's the sort of details behind, brief details behind the 5 principles that we had, but we really encourage you to take some time to add more details into the slides that you would like to as well. I'll just hand over to Juliet and Tamara if there's any other reflections that you wanted to add at the end, and then we'll go towards closing the session.
Maybe just, yeah, final thoughts from myself. I feel like in participating in this workshop, having the breakout rooms, I feel, is just such a fantastic part of Zoom, to be able to enable small groups of people to interact and to meet that first principle of having connection with one another. Large groups, it's, as we know, even when you facilitate a face-to-face workshop, is challenging to ensure everyone's able to participate and is included. And so to me, yeah, the reflection from today is important to mix up the ways that we interact online, so that it's not just one situation for a long time. I think we tend to start to tune out if that's the case, and enabling us to really build personal connections with one another in the ways that we interact. Because ultimately it's the trust that is at the root of any good partnership or any good research collaboration. So over to you, Tamara, to add.
Thanks. Well, there was a question or consideration about being mindful and conscious of that technology doesn't reinforce exclusion. I've been thinking about that a bit in relation to all the different technologies and platforms that we use, and the cost of data in different countries as well is not the same. So always being flexible, and even in the breakout rooms that I joined, sometimes we focus more on the personal connection and getting through all of the questions, or taking long notes, or doing all the activities we didn't feel like we had time. So yeah, just creating that spaciousness and the connection was the main benefit for me, and hearing different perspectives and making space for that. So I really enjoyed it, and thanks for everyone who interacted with me as well.
Great, thanks. Yeah, so we had an ambitious program. We had an hour. I think the original conference, when it was going to be in person, I think this workshop was like a 90-minute sort of workshop activity, which got put to an hour. And yeah, we're ambitious at ISF, and we like to create creative ways to interact. So we have had a packed agenda, and I feel like we've kind of got a lot of sharing and learning between people, which hopefully was of benefit to you, but also too in terms of the first question at the start, which was around knowledge. And so hopefully you've learned from we'll had some experience and some insights from the practice. So the Zoom poll, these Google slides, the sticky dots, post-it notes, and also the Mentimeter. And so hopefully that, together with the content that you've shared with each other, has broadened your knowledge. So yeah, huge thanks for everyone to participate, and I hope you have a good rest of the conference. And yeah, please be kind to yourselves and don't sit on your bottoms the whole time. Try to stand up and walk around, and yeah, be active as well. So thanks everyone, and thanks to my co-facilitators, and thanks to the team at UQ for all your support in the background as well.